folks. Today we're going to be talking about autism and masking, and I'm also going to be doing some crochet, but I just have to log on to something first, and then we're going to do it. I know a lot about masking, so I thought it would be something that we could all talk about together. We can explain what masking is, what it looks like, why we do it, and ways that we can maybe stop masking when it feels safe. So let's see here. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. It is a Monday. It is really hot. I'm in Philadelphia, and it is, I think we're coming up to a heat wave now, so. Okay, I really should have waited to go live, but okay, here we go. Okay, all right, so okay, so I am, oh shoot, I just realized, oh, here it is. Here's my hook. Okay, so my name is Carolyn, and I am going to crochet, and while I crochet, I thought I would discuss something that means a lot to me, and that is, that's masking and what it can look like for autistic women. And it's not to say that some of these things don't also apply to men, but there are just certain things. First of all, I just know the female experience, so I'm not going to speak about what it looks like for men. But I would like to be able to share some of the things that I realized that I did to mask and to fit in and to blend. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining. Welcome. I am going to be crocheting and talking about masking in terms of autism and what that can look like. A lot of times we think it's really just, it's about conforming, it's about not standing out and wanting to stay safe, but there's a lot of reasons, especially for women, that we do that. And I think because we're so good at masking, it means that we can kind of fly under the radar and be go undetected for a very long time. And then when we do actually speak out as autistic women, we get misdiagnosed and we can be labeled as having anxiety or depression, or, oh, if you're a boy, you can also follow, it's fine. I'm just not going to pretend to know anything about the male experience of autism, that's all. So yeah, for me, I know I masked a lot growing up, mainly because I was raised in a very dysfunctional family, and being my authentic self got me teased or laughed at or punished, and so it just wasn't safe to be myself in my family. And because I cared so much about other people and looking out for them and making sure that they were all okay, I ignored myself. I ignored my own needs for a very, very long time. And I think that that's something that girls are taught is okay behavior. You're supposed to care more about how other people feel and how they're doing. And so because of that, you just naturally ignore yourself. Thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Carolyn. I am autistic. I am Canadian, but living in Philadelphia. And I love to crochet and chat about some things. So high masking autism, it's because I was high masking that no one around me saw that there was an issue. And when I did end up going in and sought help or sought a diagnosis, one of the first things that you're asked is, well, what did your parents, how did your parents experience you as a child? You know, did they hear from the teachers all the time? And no, I was the perfect child. And I don't know if anyone else is also watching and you're on the spectrum. Did you, and maybe only for girls, I don't know, but do you think that your parents were even aware that there was an issue? Because I swear mine is what made me kind of like the ideal person, the ideal child, because I followed rules. Oh no, my doggies. No, girl, stop. Stop. I got 2 dogs. This is going to be a little aside. I got 2 dogs. I got the first one because she was supposed to be my emotional support friend. And it turns out she needs way more support than I do. And having CPTSD, I am very, very sensitive to sounds, like loud sounds like that. Oh, she brought me a toy. And this little dog makes so much noise. She is so barky, and my nervous system is constantly on edge because of her. So I got her as an emotional support pet. I have since been healing a lot of my trauma, and now she's just really loud. And I love her very much, but she requires a lot of assistance. Okay, so high masking. My name is Carolyn. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you are autistic, or if you're just curious about it, I make content about neurodivergence in women, as well as crochet and narcissistic abuse awareness. One of the things that I've been through is some pretty awful therapy abuse and child abuse. And again, this all comes back to why it is that so many girls go unnoticed. There are a lot of dysfunctional families out there, and the parents are absolutely not attuned to their children. So there's a whole generation of girls and women that were like me, who were overachievers. I did so well in school. My pattern recognition was like through the roof. So math was always very easy for me. I was always top of the class. And that also made it so much, you would have assumed that there would have been some kind of a learning disability, but there was. There was a learning disability, but because most of schooling for that, at that time at least, and in Canada, a lot of it was about memorizing. It was only when I went to university and I had to start managing my own time, and had to start actually studying, that I struggled so bad. Math is so easy. Okay. I'm happy that you're enjoying this chat here. So as a kid, I copied other people. I did a ton of scripting. So I learned what the right things to say were, and I became very passionate about human psychology and trying to stay safe in a dysfunctional family. So always trying to learn how to read other people. If you can predict other people's behaviors and their moods, and you can shape shift, then you can try to keep yourself safer. So I did a lot of that. And so yeah, when I went and spoke to doctors about being autistic, after after my life became very unmanageable. It was after having children that things just became, it's like in adulthood, my life has just become so much less manageable. And I could do so well growing up and when I was like in my 20s, just based off of pure adrenaline and waiting to the last minute to do certain things. And as I got older and I have more and more responsibilities, and I've got 2 children, I've got 2 dogs, I run my own business, I have so many moving parts that keep me very busy and entertained, but there were so many things that I was really starting to struggle with. So when I first look back at being a child, and I thought, no, I never really had, there was nothing really that stood out. And I have now since been able to go through my experiences and realize that there was a lot of masking that I was doing. And there were a lot of signs that I was autistic growing up, but we just didn't realize that that's what women's experiences were like. With actually, and it is ADHD. If you guys are just joining, my name is Carolyn. Thank you so much for being here. I am crocheting this is one panel of a top. It's gonna go over tank tops, I think like a white tank top. But I also want to just talk about masking while you're here. All right, so let's see. So I think, all right, so what has become less manageable for me as an adult? Is it trying to get everything done all the time? Is it, do I still struggle with these things? Yes, I very much struggle with these things. I think it is, okay, so having ADHD and autism means that there needs to be certain novelty. There's no dopamine in just getting the task accomplished on its own. So I have to I do a lot of habit stacking to make sure that I can get things done. So honestly, it's the boring things from day to day. It's the dishes and the laundry. Honestly, if I could get those things taken care of and off my hands, then I feel like I could handle a lot of other things. But even just like getting your taxes filed on time, that's really difficult. Or making sure that I'm not paying too much for subscriptions, or like I have so many taxes. Okay, so like autistic taxes. I accidentally left my keys in the car. My car got stolen. Did it get stolen or did I allow someone to take it? There are these little things that they slip my mind and I don't realize how important they are, and then they create a huge disaster for me. And yeah, so that's something. I struggle with, what are the things that right now what I'm struggling with a lot is interpersonally, trying to maintain socially acceptable conversations. I despise small talk. I cannot talk about the weather. I don't know if it's because I've just been through so much and there just seems to be so much at stake, and being a hyper empathetic human, I can't talk about the weather. It drives me nuts. And yet I know that a lot of people don't want to hear the things that I want to talk about, which is talking about abuse and talking about being autistic. And thank goodness I'm creating this space here, because the people in my world don't necessarily want to hear about it all of the time. So I'm having a really hard time now with biting my tongue. The hardest thing for me right now is biting my tongue. And I've always prided myself in being, so this is, okay, so I feel like after my entire life of masking, it's literally the hardest thing for me to do right now. It is almost impossible. And there are a lot of things that are kind of coming in together at once. So being autistic and high masking, I have experienced an unreasonable amount of abuse child abuse and sibling abuse, and then I went to a doctor, I went to a therapist to be able to handle all of this stuff after I had a child, and he abused me and exploited me because he realized I had no idea. I did not know. I did not know all of the unhealthy boundaries. I kept thinking that if I just tried harder, and if I just tried harder, all of these people would finally be nice to me. And I internalized all of it for so long until one day my spine literally broke and I went through physical shock and realized that the doctor that I had thought was my like true love, he was going to marry me, everything, that he was literally a Ted Bundy kind of a person. And my entire life started to make sense. So I feel like because I was autistic and because I grew up with child abuse, I could not see the patterns until I did. And now that I do, oh my goodness, abuse is everywhere. Coercive control is everywhere. It is at the acting school that I'm at right now. I'm at a filmmaking and acting school, so I can share the stories that have happened to me because I think that we need more women filmmakers, directors, producers. So I'm very excited to do that, to share my stories. But now that I am healing through all of this abuse, I realize just how a lot of people are very, very fake out there. And so that's one of the things that I can't do right now. I can't be insincere. And I struggle very much with other people being insincere. And so I want to, in my desire to have justice and social justice, I want to call them out. And I realize it just makes me look a fool. So that's what I'm struggling with right now, is realizing that a lot of people also wear masks, but in a very, very damaging way to society. Not in the same way that autistics do, where autistics, it's to fit in and to avoid getting hurt and humiliated and punished. Psychopaths and narcissists are masking so that they can take from amazing humans like us. So, masking. My name is Carolyn. Thank you guys so much for joining. I have to figure out what I'm doing with this thing. I am crocheting. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was so hard, and the kicker was going to therapy for child abuse and then being abused. That part was really, it enrages me. Again, my social justice, like, it's not even for me, it's for other people, because I know I reported my doctor. He did end up admitting to the abuse and he has had to surrender his licenses. And now that I've made the connection, my goodness, I see psychopathy everywhere. Like, there are certain things that abusers do that trigger my nervous system in a way now that, like, I'm literally a lie detector. Like, I can tell if I am around a dark personality. And just as a quick aside, it's especially if they cause confusion. Because my brain loves linear trains of thought, as soon as something starts feeling like, oh, that doesn't add up to what you said last time, or, I think you're trying to make me responsible for something that is not mine to take responsibility for. It's like all of this stuff that I grew up with has now armed me to be almost unstoppable when I'm confronted with a psychopath, because I will not take responsibility for something that is not mine. And I know what all the gaslighting and brainwashing, all of it looks like. It's a cult for one. If you've been abused by a narcissist, it is a cult for one. And once you start realizing that that's what it looks like, then you see how it's operating and how on a societal level, so yeah, interpersonal relationships, or yeah, the entire society. So back to masking. What are some ways that we mask as autistic women? I know for me, so I mimicked a lot, or I imitated other people. And it almost got to the point where it felt like no matter who I was with, whatever feelings they had or emotions they had going on, I would be a mirror to whatever that was. Um, I have hyper empathy. Um, I think that's also one of the reasons that I didn't realize that I could be autistic, is because I always understood that autistic humans could not empathize with others. And that could not be further from my experience. Um, I have so much empathy that another person's suffering can like destroy my heart. I've told my children like they can't pretend to be hurt or injured if they're not really hurt, because I will feel it. Um, I have such sympathetic joy if I would, as a child, watching the Super Bowl or any big event, I would start crying as if I were the one who had just won and had my dreams come true. Like, I feel so much joy for other people, and I feel the reverse. I feel their pain so much. So growing up in a dysfunctional family, when you're so attuned to other people's feelings and their needs, it's very easy to overlook that you have any at all. Um, I'm honestly just now starting to ask myself, what is it I need? What do I like? uh, and then that also kind of becomes part of your personality. It's to always be the person who's considerate of others, who's looking out for other people. My goodness. And then you become a mother and well, you lose yourself even more. Now you're absolutely there just for other people. So, um, other signs growing up that I was autistic, I was always sensitive to all stimulation. So lights in the school, the fluorescent lights. I remember my teachers would turn them off, and it always made me feel so much calmer, and I would have bad headaches there. Um, I knit so much when I was little. It was absolutely one of the ways that I stimmed. But again, it was socially acceptable. So no one could tell that I was stimming because I was making them gorgeous scarves and blankets and gifts all the time. But I was just constantly in my own little world, creating and on to the next thing. And because I had autism and ADHD, um, I just found like one new project after another, and again, socially acceptable for a girl to create little art projects. And yeah, if you are autistic and it took a while for you to figure it out, welcome. I am late diagnosed. My name is Carolyn. Let's see. A few things about me. Thank you so much for joining. If you're not already following or subscribe, I would love you to. What am I making here? So let's see. Is this a treble crochet? A treble stitch? A triple mesh stitch? That's what you're making pillows out of this? Or out of the same stitch? So yeah, I think so. Okay, let's see. I went around 1, 2, yarn over twice. I go in 1, 2, 3. And that's a treble crochet, right? Yes, you don't know. It is, I've got the bottom here, there's like a little ribbing. I guess it was like a foundation stitch. I actually only picked up crochet in February. If you are new here, okay, let's see. So I don't even know that I love this, to be honest. It was going to be something to put over a tank top. It's getting long enough, I suppose. Let's see. it would be like a crop, I guess. Actually, maybe I could, I don't know. I don't often get fancy pretty yarn, and I got fancy pretty yarn for this, and now I don't know what I want to make of it. What I have been making aside from that, from just acrylic yarn, is this. This is one of my favorite things. It is it's a hexagon cardigan. And again, I just started crocheting in February. I picked up the hook in February. I had knit when I was younger. I knit a lot. But I mean, it was totally different than crochet. But just by going online and checking out the different tutorials, I was able to figure out how to make this. And I have made several now. It's a hexagon cardigan. I've got another one that I am making. I said I live in Philadelphia, and this one is inspired by the Phillies, so it's going to be my baseball season cardigan. Cardigan. So yeah, high masking autistic woman. It has been such a journey to be able to realize that I am autistic. I thought, so my process was, I thought I was highly sensitive. So I read a bunch of books about highly sensitive people. And then I thought maybe I have ADHD because I was having such a hard time focusing. And anytime that I tried to read anything, I would have to reread over and over. And I thought, my goodness, my concentration is just complete crap. So highly sensitive person, and then ADHD. And then I remember the first time that I thought maybe autism. And then I didn't want to take up that space. I didn't want to take something that wasn't mine. So there was a whole lot of imposter syndrome. I think there's just that anyway. But then I would lurk in a ton of different forums on Reddit, and I realized, oh my goodness, all of these people seem to have the same, or some of these people have similar quirks or unusual ways of seeing things. And yeah, that this process has taken probably 3 years now. And it's only really in the last year and a half that I have even shared with people that I am autistic. And of course, now I can see it everywhere in my family. Again, when you are raised in a sea of something, it's so hard to know what you don't know. So yes, one of my aunts was nonverbal for decades, and they thought she was schizophrenic. And now I think that she was autistic, and they just didn't know, because as soon as she went through menopause, she started speaking again, and she could name every single bird that came to the bird feeder. There were like 60 people in my family. There's 10. My father has 10 brothers and sisters, a Catholic French-Canadian family. And there's like 30 grandchildren, a ton of great-grandchildren, and that aunt knew all of our birthdays. She knew so many little details about stuff. Like, she had just been absorbing so much and just keeping it to herself during a lot of time. I was so close with her. I loved her so much. We went to Costa Rica together, and she has now passed on, but I like to think that she and my grandmother are with me. But yeah, she never would have wanted to harm anyone. She was so sweet. Let's see. Yes. Hi, Panda Girl. I don't know if you're still here, but hello. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. I make content about neurodivergence, narcissistic and psychopathy awareness, crochet, and I'm at a film and acting school. So I plan on making a lot of films about therapy abuse and psychopathy, and yeah, a lot of stories that I think are not being made right now because people like me aren't necessarily those who are writing all of the scripts or directing the films. So yeah, exactly. Had we been, if as little girls we had been obsessed with trains, there probably, or had we fidgeted a lot, or there had been like other ways that society sees children on the spectrum, then we wouldn't have been under the radar. But there was no one was really looking at what the little girl's experience was like. And I know for me, autism is actually what made me the best child. I was a golden child because of it. Granted, I did have meltdowns. My father will say there were times where I definitely stormed up the stairs and said, I hate you. And I've always struggled with emotional regulation. I feel things so intensely. And then I was raised in an environment where people were very dismissive of your feelings. So I empathize with little me who just wanted to be seen and wanted someone to care about her pain. And when on like the rare occasion that I would speak out and say I had a need, like the rare time, I find this so frustrating. I've put everyone else ahead of me for so long. It would be so sad and like heartbreaking, the rare occasions when I would say, I need help, I can't do this alone, or I need an accommodation. And I would be met with, no, just try harder. And I thought, my goodness, I'm just going to keep exhausting myself to just like make sure all of you people are happy. And I think that's why now I'm so burnt out and I cannot mask any longer. I can't. I'm very happy I'm at my film and acting school. It requires us to really be truthful and honest about how we feel and about other people's behaviors. Oh, I just said about a couple times. I am Canadian, and I think it only really sounds like I'm Canadian when I say about or sorry, tomorrow or tomorrow. I don't know. So in my acting school, what I really like is that we're supposed to behave truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And it's the Meisner training. It's like, if you know of acting and you know method is about kind of like becoming the role. Meisner is about really listening and playing off of the person that you are with. And so I feel like autism and scripting all of my life has really helped me now in my acting class. I'm so aware of other people and of how they are behaving, and that sensitivity now is serving me. So after my entire life being told that I was too much, too sensitive, too dramatic, I don't think I was very dramatic. I think I was too scared to be dramatic. But yeah, now I can finally use all of this stuff. So just putting that out there too. If you are autistic and you think that you might want to perform or be on stage, I think the people in my school that are neurodivergent, I think that they have an easier time performing than other people do. All right, so masking as an autistic woman, it's problematic because you become kind of the victim of your own masking. When you finally look to get a diagnosis or to get help, you have created such a perfect picture of who you are and how well you're doing, and never letting anyone know that you're struggling, that when you do end up needing help, that's a process all on its own, because now you have to prove to people like, no, it was really hard. No, I really did need accommodations, but when I asked, no one would listen, or they would make me feel ashamed for asking, or whatever it is that made you decide that you could not speak out about your needs. Now you have to go and try to prove to someone else that you really were. in such distress all that time. And then it's, well, why didn't you ask? It's one of those crazy cycles. My name is Carolyn. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm gonna have to get off here soon. I have to go. It is a summer camp information night for parents. I don't know what I want to do with this. I don't know. I spent a lot of money on this yarn. More than what I usually spend on yarn. And I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And I don't know if I want to continue making it. Like, what could I do with this? I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. That's also why I think that crochet is the absolute best hobby if you are ADHD, because you can either do something that is repetitive and just keep doing the same stitch over and over, or if you have the ADHD part, you can just create new things always and just use your imagination. A shirt or a tote bag? Yeah, okay, so I thought of that. Actually, with this stitch, I definitely would make tote bags, right? I think that would definitely, I could do that. Okay, so a pillow, a 12 by 12, right? I could do that. And then what, underneath it, would it just be white, or choose like a color casing for the pillow? I wish I had a pretty fabric that I could put underneath it. I wish I could find something. I could go and thrift something and put it underneath. But yes, now that I've discovered this stitch, I think I'm definitely going to make like a ton of market bags. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Julia. Yeah, I do think a pattern underneath would look cool. Because exactly, I wouldn't want it to be a solid something. All right, well, I'm going to have to think about this. Now I'm inspired. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I look forward to chatting more. Have a, is there a good way to contact, I guess just like maybe leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. All right, or actually there's an email at hooksandconfessions@gmail.com. But I don't know, maybe that's too much. All right, it's been fun. Bye.